Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Heartfelt Horizons. Today is our last day doing our covered official initiative where businesses give back to the community by sponsoring an NPO airtime space. So today's the last day, and with me I have the amazing Najma Khan from DMK Skincare. She is the head of education both internationally and locally in South Africa for DMK. Assalamu alaikum, Najma. Welcome to the show.
Walaikum salam, Yasmin. Thank you for having me this morning.
It's a
I'm quite
pleasure. And
excited.
yeah, I know it is. I've always enjoyed chatting to you. And I just want to say thank you again for your contribution towards the initiative. Really, really appreciate it. And yeah, so tell us more about, before we get into the questions, tell us more about DMK and what it is that you do for DMK.
Okay, so DMK is a paramedical skincare brand which is globally found. We work on sort of changing and revising the skin. I'm head of education for South Africa and I do present internationally as well. And I've been with DMK. Well, my very first job with DMK was about almost 25 years ago, where I
Mhm.
worked at the DMK Training Foundation. And DMK was then relaunched about 15 years ago, and then I got involved with the company.
Oh, that's amazing. So for 25 years in the skincare industry and your work is with ethnic skin, correct? How did you early research on skin bleaching and how does it influence the approach to DMK? Tongue twisted
Okay,
there.
so we work on all skin. So across the color barrier, across different uh, like conditions as well, because we view
Mhm.
skin as conditions. So I got involved in my very first job, like I said, with the DMK Training Foundation. I got involved in a research project with Danae King, who is the founder of the DMK brand. And I did research on skin that was damaged due to skin bleaching. And I think from that, those early days of working with the skin and, seeing the skin change. And remember, when you just start working, you don't really have that much experience. But I had like the best of experience because I've seen how the skin actually heals. And I saw what can be done to the skin, what you shouldn't do to the skin, how far to push the skin. And DMK is definitely focused on rebuilding the skin because that is what we do. So we rebuild damaged skin. We work with normal, healthy skin just to enhance the beautiful skin as such. And in 2018, we launched the Don't Mess with My Skin campaign, which is
Mhm.
an anti-skin bleaching campaign, which hailed from our early days of working with Danae and doing research on deeper toned skin. And I think there's a huge, I think people tend to get confused when working with deeper tone skin. We tend to treat skin the same way across the board, and it shouldn't actually be that way.
Mhm.
Because we have rich melanocytes, active melanocytes, which is actually a protection mechanism. So when you do treatments, for example, that's going to sensitize the skin, you're going to produce more melanin in order to protect the skin. So it's actually very interesting, working on the various different coloring of the skin and seeing the results that actually come through.
Okay, great. That's amazing. Now for me, I just want to know, this is a personal question. Why has bleaching become such a part of society or of a community, should I say? I know
I
lots of
think
people do the
because
bleaching.
think, Yasmin, I mean, being people of color, we know
Mhm.
that light skin is generally perceived to be better, more
Mhm.
beautiful. And I think it stems from that. I mean, the very first bleaching agents actually came out of Asia, funny enough, China,
Oh
because
wow.
the rich people stayed indoors and the poorer people worked in the field. So naturally, because of the sun, your skin would tan and they would then be seen as inferior. So I think that
Mhm.
is where all those harmful bleaching agents actually first started coming hailing out of China and India, where that perception to this day still remains the same, unfortunately. So I think it's all about education,
Mhm.
and educating our kids and people around us, younger men and women around us, teenagers around us. It's about confidence, being confident in your own skin, so that you wouldn't resort to skin bleaching uh, products, so to say. And the other thing is, acne, for example, when we break out, we get
Mm.
little post inflammatory pigmentation. There are treatments out there to actually help control acne and to control the pigmentation or the post inflammatory pigmentation that stems from inflammatory conditions.
Oh wow, that's amazing. And um, a quick question here now. What you do the education side, is this what you discuss on it when you go out there and educate people about skincare? Is that what you do? Do you talk about what type of topics do you talk about?
Okay, so I basically now I run like just education on skin, anatomy, physiology. I tend to do more of that. But through that, we basically, and my entire education team is exactly the same as I am. So it's,
Wow.
train the trainer. So I can't get to everyone and they can't get to everyone. So they train their students in exactly the same way. And it's about, first and foremost, understanding skin, how the skin
Mm-hmm.
functions, the different conditions of the skin, and then teaching your students to actually educate their clients. And naturally, if I had to do that with you, you would go home and talk to your daughter about
Daughter. Yes.
things like that.
Oh,
And
wow.
yes, when you're working, especially with Indian and deeper tone skin, your ethnic clients, those are the topics that actually come up because about 10 years ago, 75% of people of color bleach their skin at some point or the other, not understanding what the ingredients actually do to the skin. And people tend to use it just because they want a brighter skin, so to say. So there's the harmful ingredients that actually basically penetrate right through the skin. So you get harmful ingredients like your steroids, mercury, high percentages of hydroquinone that basically penetrate through the epidermal layers of the skin. And as it passes through the skin, it damages all those functioning cells. It then goes through the dermis, which then
Wow.
damages your fibroblast cells and then into the bloodstream. So, can you imagine all the toxins that's running through your blood?
Right.
Your
Mm.
kidneys, your organs definitely take a huge knock from those kind of ingredients. And it's about educating because people don't know that. They
Know
don't
that. No,
realize
I did not know that. Yeah.
how damaging it is. Can you imagine if you're pregnant and you're using
Mhm.
skin bleaching products? Can you imagine what you're doing to the fetus? And something happens and you actually can't pinpoint where that condition actually or that health issue comes from, but a simple thing like using an over-the-counter bleaching agent can damage your health.
Uh, that's amazing. I did not know that. And that's something I've learned now today. See, you learn something every day. And you just basically explained that the DMA concept. I know you have a unique philosophy when it comes to skincare. And you've just addressed that very well in what you just said now. Do you want to add to it? Is there anything
Yes.
else you can add to it before we go into an ad break?
Definitely. Thank you, Yasmin. So, the GMK concept has always been for the past 50 years remove, rebuild, protect, and maintain. So, when you remove the skin using exfoliating agents, for example, you need to rebuild the skin. Now, while we're on this topic, a very common ingredient that's used across the board over the counter as well is alpha hydroxy acid. Now, alpha hydroxy acid is part of the removal phase of DMK, where we use it in treatment or we use it if we're doing a specific skin peel. But none of our home care prescriptives have alpha hydroxy acid in. Because what happens when you apply AHAs on the skin, it first and foremost alters the pH of the skin. Okay, it takes it from about 5.5, it drops it to about 3, and then what happens is your skin basically draws on your skin's own moisture. So it literally pulls up
Pulls it in.
moisture to the surface of the skin. The dead skin cells that lie on the top basically blow up like little water balloons and they burst off. So what happens is it reveals a very healthy, glowy skin because you're removing dead skin cells.
Yes.
Your fine lines are plumped up because you brought water to the surface of the skin. But long term use of AHA on a daily basis in your home care routine will definitely leave those baby cells in a desert like environment. So it's going to dehydrate your skin. It's going to make your skin photosensitive. So you go out into the sun and you then tend to burn or pigment a lot easier. Um, and you actually then cause long term premature aging as well with lines and wrinkles.
Angels. Oh,
That
wow.
is the removal phase. So the rebuilding phase is the enzyme therapy. I think you've experienced that a
Yes.
while ago. So the
Hmm.
enzyme therapy is basically rebuilding the skin, making the skin function better or the way it did when we were younger. And then the our last phase is your prescriptive phase, which is your maintenance, and that is using high quality ingredients that's going to help nourish and feed your skin. And then obviously wearing a sunscreen on a daily basis would help as well.
Okay. We've got a question from a listener. Do you have any advice for dark spots?
Okay, so dark spots is from basically your melanocyte that, for whatever reason, has overproduced melanin. So the way we treat skin is, firstly, yes, we remove the surface dead skin cells so that our inhibitors. Inhibitors are ingredients that basically work on the actual melanocyte. And the melanocyte is the cell that produces the pigment. So the idea is that we work on the melanocyte in order to stop that overproduction of melanin. But at the same time, we need to help reduce the inflammation and remove redundant dead skin cells that are actually filled with the pigment.
Okay, thank you so much for answering that. And when we get back from the break, we'll go into more discussion on menopause and so on age, and we'll take it from there. Chat to you after the break, Najma.
Thanks.
Do we have any assets for Najma? Okay, at least we got some interaction with a listener.
Allah is calling you. Allah is calling you to say His name. Allah is calling you to come home again. Allah is calling you. Remember when you were in pain. Remember when you called His name. But after He answered your prayer, you forgot that His name. Allah is calling you. Allah is calling you to say His name. Allah is calling you to come home again. Allah is calling you. When you find yourself confused, alone, rejected or abused, He sees when you're in distress. Truly His name puts hearts at rest. Allah is calling you. Allah is calling you to say His name. Allah is calling you to come home again. Allah is calling you. Take some time each and every day to ponder on, to contemplate on all the things He gave to you. Allah Jalla Jalaluhu. Allah is calling you. Allah is calling you to say His name. Allah is calling you to come home again. Allah is calling you. His mercy far exceeds His wrath. He wants that you stay on the path. He wants you to try your best and avoid shaitan and pass the test. Allah is calling you. Allah is calling you to say His name. Allah is calling you to come home again. Allah is calling you. Allah is calling you. Allah is calling you to say His name. Allah is calling you to come home again. Allah is calling you.
After the recent attacks on Gaza, many families have been displaced, with their homes left destroyed. Through your donations, our teams are on the ground in Gaza, providing support and delivering necessary aid to families affected. The people of Gaza need your help. Give hope. Donate today to Penny Appeal South Africa. www.pennyappeal.org.za 031 1100 573.
Are here on the ground with many appeal organizations in Gaza.
Rejuvenating media day by day. This is Salam Media.
I'm chatting to Najma Khan from DMK Skincare. Najma heads up the campaign Don't Mess With My Skin, an anti-skin bleaching campaign which she initially introduced at a conference in Los Angeles and later in South Africa. Currently, the campaign is being launched through various countries in Africa, and Najma's motto is "Empowered Through Education." Has led her to develop a masterclass, Understanding Skin, empowering therapists to think out of the box and beyond the surface of skin. Welcome back, Najma. Thank you so much for joining us. I've seen your video there. Do you want to talk us through a little bit on what we just seen on our screen? Okay, I can't hear you. I seem to have lost your sound. Can we just
Okay,
check?
how's it?
There we go. Now back. Welcome back. Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, so the animated video is the way the skin, the enzymes actually function in the skin. So are you talking of the animated video or the before and after that we just saw now?
That was the before and after that we just saw now. So let's go with that one.
So the before and after, a client came in with acne and post-inflammatory pigmentation due to the breakouts. And that was a 4-month treatment protocol where we basically revised the skin. So we're still busy with treatment, but you can see the difference in the skin. So that comprises of in-clinic treatments where the client comes in, we do the whole concept of remove, rebuild, protect, maintain. And then the client goes home with home prescriptives that they would use on their skin. For example, ingredients with salicylic acid or azulic acid, which spirals into the follicle, mops up excess oil, kills off bacteria, reduces inflammation. So that is what we've just seen now.
Oh, that's amazing. And I know now we have the issue of menopause. That's what we wanted to talk about when we got back from the break, and its effect on the skin. And we seldom discuss this. So, do you want to share? Do you want to go more into the approach that you would use for women who are going through menopause and skin issues there?
Okay, so it's very important to understand menopause as such and the decline of your estrogen, progesterone in the skin. Estrogen basically directly reflects the skin. So I'm going to focus a little bit on the estrogen. So estrogen plays a significant role in the way the skin actually functions. As your estrogen's levels drops, so does the function of the skin. For example, dryness. So as you start, premenopausal or through menopause, you find that your skin actually starts drying out. So it becomes dehydrated, firstly because of the hot flushes that we have. So, you have like all that sweat. So you're basically losing moisture. That can actually cause inflammation as well as bacterial infection as well, because that environment of the damp moisture that's on the skin is very inviting to bacteria that basically thrives on the skin. Dryness from your sebaceous glands. So your oil gland basically starts shrinking, which means there's less oil, less moisture for the skin. Okay.
Okay.
Your skin starts sagging as well, and that is due to loss of collagen and elastin production. And you find that sometimes there's an increase in pigmentary disorders. So, looking at all those conditions on the skin, we would then go in and target those conditions specifically. For example, we would add something called CBE, which Danae copied as closely as he could to your skin's own secretions. So it recognizes the lipids that you put on the skin, and it basically utilizes it. So that will help with your moisture levels, for example. Pigmentary disorders, I explained earlier, we'd have to use inhibitors to basically slow down the overproduction of melanin. And then we need to stimulate your fibroblast cells as well, because your fibroblast cells are found in the dermis. That is actually the scaffolding to the skin. So that keeps your skin upright. So when you start aging basically occurs in your dermis. So we need to up the production of collagen and elastin by providing that little fibroblast cells with effective or ingredients that it's going to utilize. For example, vitamin C, that would keep your fibroblast cells active, amino acids, which are your building blocks to collagen and elastin. So that is the way we would actually target the skin. So basically, with DMK, we look at the surface of the skin. And remember, everything that you're seeing on the surface of the skin is directly related to what's happening underneath the skin. So your face or your skin showcases exactly the decline of certain cells in the body. And that is what you would then target. Like, for example, your Langerhans cells, you would feed your skin with beta glucans, which strengthens the function of the Langerhans cells.
Oh, wow.
And also vitamin C, Yasmin, is very difficult to stabilize, and it's very expensive. So if you're buying a vitamin C serum, for example, for like 500 Rand, chances are that it's basically not going to go all the way to your fibroblast cell in your dermis. So, the quality of ingredients is very important when using skincare. DMK utilizes 80% of active ingredients in a 20% base, and the base that we use is in the creams is soy protein, and that on its own is very nutritious and very feeding to the skin.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. I know you got a stem zyme, something first in that you guys are doing. It's the first of a kind. I've got it here. So what is stem zyme treatment? And do you want to share more on that? That sounds very interesting.
Yeah, it actually is. In my 25 years of experience, I have never, in DMK, really, I've seen changes in the skin. But with stem zymes, it's just a whole game changer altogether. So stem zymes it's been 7 years in the making. It was launched last year, and that is utilizing very specific botanicals and Ayurvedic tinctures to stimulate your own skin stem cells. So it's not like taking stem cells from an apple and using it on your skin, because your body doesn't recognize the chemistry. So what we're doing here is basically activating your skin's own your skin's own stem cells. It's very tongue twisting. So and that basically would increase in population as well. So that means you would get more stem cells, and stem cells basically then go on to differentiating into your different cells. For example, your keratinocytes, your Langerhans cells, your fibroblast cells. And that is quite amazing, because what we're doing now is we're reversing aging, and that includes pigmentation, scarring, all of that, to a point where we would then reactivate your skin's own stem cells. The results have been amazing. We've seen really great results, changes in pigmentary disorders. You find that your fat distribution on the face changes as well, because as we age, everything goes down south. So gravity pulls everything down. And with the stem cells, it basically reactivates all those processes of keeping the skin functioning optimally. And you find that there's definitely a change in the distribution of fat. So you find, your nasolabial lines are a lot less. You find that your cheekbones are a little bit higher. You find that your frown lines have like disappeared. Huge improvements on the neck and décolleté, around the eye area as well. So I think, definitely a class of its own. We have started doing treatments. We haven't officially launched it yet in South Africa, but our clients are already doing treatments, and it is only the very advanced therapists that are offering the stem zymes.
Oh wow. Okay,
Yeah.
that's amazing. That's news, right? That's really something. When
Definitely,
we get
in the skincare industry, it is a breakthrough. So it's first of its kind, utilizing your skin's own stem cells. And I think through this, we've gotten a lot of traction as well. We've got two plastic surgeons that have come on board. We've got a
Mhm.
few doctors that have come on board as well. So I think, everyone's seen the light and, very excited. I haven't had my treatment yet. In fact, I bought a kit and I sold it to a
Oh,
client.
okay.
We
Comes with the
almost
job.
gotten out of the Stenzyme kits. Our next order will come in June.
In June. Okay, that's great to know. So we're going to head into an ad break, but when I come back, I want to know about Pippi Kruger. There's a story that you have to tell us about Pippi Kruger when we get back from the break. Thanks, Najma.
Listen to something fresh. Listen to Salam Media, your humanitarian broadcaster.
Shimmer, sparkle, captivate. Nothing less than a masterpiece. Droplets of gold inspires precious design. Platinum bursts with intricate freshness. And every pure diamond becomes more than just a girl's best friend. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, where timeless dreams become a reality. Come to us. We tailor-make designer gold, platinum, and diamond jewelry. Trade in or remodel your old gold. Clad yourself with classy name-branded watches. We offer insurance valuation and free zakat calculation. Visit us at 534 Ridge Road, Overport, or call 031 208 9142. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, manufacturers of fine gold and diamond jewelry.
After the recent attacks on Gaza, many families have been displaced with their homes left destroyed. Through your donations, our teams are on the ground in Gaza, providing support and delivering necessary aid to families affected. The people of Gaza need your help. Give hope. Donate today to Penny Appeal South Africa. www.pennyappeal.org.za 031 1100 573.
Are here on the ground with many appeal organizations in Gaza.
When the perfect blend of stylish decor, exquisite halal cuisine, and warm hospitality come together, it could only mean Al Bayt Lodge, your true home away from home. Al Bayt is the ideal heaven for families, business people, and tourists with its 4-star family rooms and other luxurious facilities, conveniently situated close to Port Elizabeth Airport, the beach, and other amenities. Your stay will be truly unforgettable, as you'll be taking home lasting memories of the warm hospitality, the serenity and tranquility that Al Bayt has to offer. For reservations, call 041 583 6415 or visit www.albaytlodge.co.za.
Dad, these Frymax chips are so tasty. Wow, that really takes me back. My dad bought me a Frymax chips every day after school. They were my favorite when I was your age as well. Quality is at the very heart of what we do, and that's why we ensure that every Frymax packet is filled with the beautiful goodness and flavor-packed taste that you've come to expect from us since 1982. Frymax, from generation to generation.
Rejuvenating media day by day. This is Salam Media.
Okay, there's another. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. It's 12:22 and I'm speaking to Najma Khan. Welcome back, Najma. How are you? I know before we end the slot, I just wanted to find out more about a story that you want to share with our listeners about Pippi Kruger. Can you share more on that?
Okay, so I'm sure South Africa remembers the little girl, Pippi Kruger, who was burned a few years ago, long time ago. She was little. She was like 5 years old, if I'm not mistaken. And she had severe burns from head to toe. And this poor little girl continuously undergoes skin grafting because scar tissue does not stretch. Okay, so basically they have to do skin grafting in order to allow growth. I mean, she's now a little teenager, and in between her plastic surgery, her operations, her skin grafting, DMK takes care of her skin. In that we help keep it supple and hydrated, so it's not so uncomfortable. And I mean, she's a teenager now, so she's also going through the usual teenage acne. Yeah, so we now control that on her skin. We basically help protect her skin from environmental stresses and damages as well. And according to her mom, her skin's doing remarkable in terms of resilience and the texture, the comfort of the skin as well.
Oh, that's amazing. Wow. Najma, you really just talked us into so much, and the information that we received was very insightful. I want to know from you if we need to book an appointment or if we need to come to you. How do we get in touch with you? Can you share that information with our listeners before we wrap this up?
Okay, you can go onto our website, which is www.dmkskincare.co.za. You can contact us via the website, and we will direct you to a clinic that is closest to your area, because we have clinics throughout South Africa and Africa as well. Yeah, I think, get going, get your DMK consultation in. It's usually a holistic approach, so your therapist will go through your diet, your medication, everything that does affect the skin as well. And I always say to the clients, if you don't see a change in your skin from your first treatment onwards, don't come back, because you will definitely see the change. I know, I've seen it, I've experienced it. You see the change from your first treatment onwards. The idea is to maintain with home prescriptives, to keep feeding your skin. We have one skin only, so we need to take care of it. And yeah, I think that's all from my side. And you can find us on Instagram as well at DMK South Africa.
Jazakallah so much, Najma, for taking the time out, for being part of this initiative. And yeah, we'll chat soon again, inshallah. Jazakallah
Thank
so
you,
much.
Yasmin.
It's
Thank you
a
to your
pleasure.
listeners as well.
Yes, I'll see
innovative
you soon,
concept of
inshallah.
skin cells respond positively to the chemistry that they recognize.
Okay. That is it. So now we're testing with.
This signature treatment evokes various activities in the skin tissue itself once it's applied to cleanse skin. More than just a mask, enzymes in the treatment and within the skin itself are kick-started, such as amylase, lipase, superoxide dismutase, mitochondrial complex II, and the hydroxylase enzymes. These are all working together to stimulate substrates in the skin when it is flooded with the enzyme mixture. Underneath the epidermis is where all the stimulation occurs. We have the basal cells, Langerhans cells, and the epitheliocyte stimulations. Shown here are debris that are flooded out around the desmosome areas. The cell structure is then removed, leaving a clean matrix behind and an improved, stronger skin with better desmosome adhesion. Enzymatic cascades begin to trigger activity in the basal cells. Fresh oxygen, the energy pipeline to the mitochondria to produce ATP, is accelerated via the plasmatic effect, which in turn energizes transferase enzymes to do their knock-on effect of kick-starting all cellular activity in the epidermis. Messenger activities are also initiated throughout the epidermis at key points. There is a definite activity of messenger enzymes that actually work on specific receptors of the cell membrane, activating in various substrate action, which ends up energizing the cells and creates the pulsing of the tissues through the capillaries, which are the conduits of oxygen into every activity, including mitochondria. Stem cells are also activated at certain points, and of course the most important organelle of all, the mitochondria, with its ATP recharge function, which is the actual electricity that increases a living cell's lifespan and maintains it. During the 45 minutes of the enzymatic application, all of its functions are similar to a small organic factory, which is also creating additional collagen production where it is needed. The striations, once the treatment is removed, are quite apparent. Usually the striations disappear within 30 minutes after the treatment. This shows that homeostasis through the plasmatic effect has been achieved. There is no other treatment in the world that will give this effect.